Podcast Friday on Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Powered by SABC Sport.
You're on the mighty Metro FM, the biggest platform for all things sport and Africa's favorite sports content show. It is Sports Night Amplified with Andy. It's gone exactly 13 after the hour 6. And it's Podcast Friday! Listen, Mark, I've got a former teammate of yours that is joining us, a boy from just up the road here in Randburg. He's an Orlando Pirates youth development player. This was back in 08, 09, 2010. He moved around between Bidvest, Wits, Maritzburg United, Supersport, Amazulu, Cape Moya All-Stars, and this season played 18 games, scoring a crucial goal in the last game of the season. He's nowadays a podcaster, a TikToker, and an Instagrammer. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Morton! Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Wow, thank you for the very epic introduction. It almost took you the whole show just to name all the clubs I played.
You've been around, but where did you guys play together with Mark Haskins here?
At Bidvest Wits. He was actually my first ever roommate. Guided me, showed me the ropes from the early days.
So I can blame you a lot for what Mark has turned out to be. I mean, you didn't do a good job being a friend, man. I mean, gee whiz.
No, I couldn't ask for a better role model. What a good guy. What a great teammate. We spent a lot of good time together on the field.
Hey, Mark Haskins, he's here with us, former Cosmos Wits Moroka Swallows midfielder, but also, and you can take this to church, in my opinion, top 5, if not even better than that, best analyst on television, across all television at the moment, and spends his other time watching young men play football in order to groom them and give them a better chance in life. Mark, welcome.
Well, thanks, Andile. Great to be here once again. And yeah, great to be with my roommate. I must tell you, I don't think I've ever smiled so hard like I did last weekend. I actually sent him a message.
When he scored the goal.
When he scored, I was so happy. I mean, it couldn't happen to a better guy. I mean, Michael Morton, a consummate professional, again, a great role model. He's been a great servant of the game, and so great to be on the show with him. I'm excited about it.
Michael, I mean, you left that goal to the last game. Kaizer Chiefs, end of the season, throwing them off the top 8 there. It meant a lot, and you could see in how you celebrated. I'm not sure if you were shocked to have scored because you're a defender nowadays. I'm not sure if it was just a shock of, oh, can you believe it? I scored. It was just the excitement of, on the last day, with the team that's relegated, I scored a goal. What was it?
Yeah, look, I think whenever I score, it's a bit of shock that goes through my system because I save them for every couple of years. So, so it's always a bit of shock, and then I've got to try to think of a celebration in time. I don't have one in the locker. No, it's a bit of chaos every time I put the ball in there.
Well, Michael, we look forward to your thoughts and opinions. We love what you do on the socials there. But the guys are not alone. Of course, a representation of every South African's wildest thoughts without the filter, though. He's with us as well. Nadim Lukele. Join him on Facebook. He does some amazing things on Facebook and continues the conversations that we have here on Facebook as well. What is it? Just simply Nadim Lukele?
Yeah, that's my name, Nadim Lukele. I'm trying to...
Nadim, Nadim, yeah?
Yeah. Most people are asking why I'm not active on Facebook, but because I'm not on Twitter, again, I deactivated it, so I'm trying to be active there.
Facebook, go follow him. There's a podcast that's coming up soon as well.
Yeah.
We'll give you the details to that. Guys, it's simple. We bring up the topics, we discuss it to the best of our abilities, sharing, the vast experience that 3 of you guys have. We'll go and look at it statistically and otherwise as well. Then we'll look at the games of the weekend. 2 big games, a final in the Champions League as well as the Nedbank Cup final as well. But before that, let's go. No. We're not going to speak about Morgan Mamila, Timmy. No. Timmy's got it down here. Morgan came here for an hour. He couldn't speak on it. Why are we going to speak on it? He was here for an hour. He didn't say anything. No, we're skipping that one.
Maybe he was shocked.
No. Let's go straight. Let's go straight to the Bafana Bafana announcement. Let's go straight to Hugo Bruce having named the squad. Let's play the squad and what he had to say to the players that he's mentioned, the 23 that he's picked, who they are. I'll get a reaction from you guys, and then we'll maybe zero it down a little bit more to what he said about Percy Tau in particular before we then move on to the conversation that we've had this week on what Dr. Kumalo said on Kaizer Chiefs. 2 games versus Zimbabwe as well as Nigeria. This is Hugo Bruce and his squad that he's selected to go and represent Bafana Bafana in the qualifiers.
So the 23 members of the Bafana Bafana squad are the goalkeepers Ronwen Williams, Ricardo Gos and Veli Motva. Defenders Sidney Moby, Tapelo Morena, and Consinati Sibisi, Aubrey Modiba, Motobi Mvala, Kuliso Mudau, Siabonga Ngezana, and Grant Kekana. Midfielders, Teboho Mokoena, Jeden Adams, Batusi Obas, and Spehelo Sitole. Strikers, Temba Zwane, Oswin Apolis, Patrick Masangwani, Ikram Reiners, Elias Mokuana, Lyle Foster, Percy Tau, and Rele Bohile Mofokeng.
That is it. That is the squad. Michael, I'm going to begin with you perhaps. What are your thoughts on the squad picked by Hugo Broos to face Zimbabwe as well as Nigeria in these crucial matches?
Yeah, look, I think we have to back him. He's got a great record with Bafana Bafana so far, so you've got to show faith, and he's obviously shows a lot of faith in the younger guys, and he's been putting pretty good teams together and a successful team so far. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, especially with the selection of Mofokeng and Apollos. I think that's going to be good, and I'm a big fan of Jaden Adams as well, so I'm happy that he's in the mix.
Nadim?
Yeah, it's a very good squad from what he has selected. It's players who have been performing. Of course, you'll be happy to see a young player like Mofokeng getting recognition after doing so well with Orlando Pirates. Again, it's a squad that's coming from the AFCON. 80% of the squad is the players who are already part of the Bafana Bafana. It's good that Kitebo Mkwana has recovered in time, because the game against Nigeria away is going to be a tough test for Bafana Bafana, because it's a World Cup qualifier. The coach needs to qualify for World Cup. We have seen Nigerians, how good they are in the Champions League, in the Europas, and all those kind of things. But I'm very happy with the squad.
It seems all concise. Everybody's happy with it. Mark, you share the same sentiments?
Yeah, certainly. I don't think we can really fault it. A lot was said about Mabasa initially, but when you look at the squad overall, what was selected, you can understand each and every person there deserves their place there. It's always a difficult thing, and there's always going to be those players where you're like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever the case may be. But I'm very happy with the squad selection. I'm even happier with Coach Bruce's pronunciation. If you look at those are some tough names. A lot of South Africans struggle, but Coach Bruce actually did a really good job in announcing the squad, and he did a good job pronouncing a lot of the names as well.
Yeah, I can tell you now, I've done that a couple of times with him. He will ask several times and ask for their enunciation and so forth. So it's something that he does with care. Let's move on now to, before obviously he announces the squad, there's always conversations had with him. And he was asked a particular question about Percy Tau. Listen to what he had to say on Percy Tau.
Percy is not a big star. Percy is a very good player, and that's a big difference. When you are a star, you decide the games. When you are a star, you're. This is not Percy, but Percy can be very important for us because he has so much qualities, and that is what I think about him, and not what people think about him, that he always has to be the best, and that he has to decide games, and no, that is not Percy Tau.
I saw this as a positive, Mark, but I know there's a lot that thought, how do you drag your own player in that way? How did you feel about it? What do you, when you hear a coach say that, you've been a player, you've been in the shoes of hearing coaches speak about you. What are the thoughts when you hear that?
I think people need to understand the context and what the coach is actually saying. He's not saying that Percy is not a great player, he's not a good player. He says he's not like a superstar. And so when we think of superstars, we talk about players who at the drop of a hat can turn the game on its head. Your Lionel Messi's or whatever the case may be. And yes, Percy Tau is not that. And if we look at his record, even playing for, before Bafana Bafana, he hasn't shot out the lights for Bafana. And we look at the last AFCON, we just have to go to where, as vice captain, a lot of people felt Percy was well below the standard that we expect of him. And so you can understand what coach is saying, but he is a vital member of the squad. And football is not about one player doing the business. It's about a collective. And Percy is very much part of the collective, and he contributes highly to the collective. And so, people just need to understand exactly what the coach is saying. He says Percy is a really, really good player, but he's not the superstar of the squad. And the good thing about Bafana, I don't think we have one superstar in the squad. It's all about the team, and that's how we should be.
Michael, what is your understanding?
Yeah, I think some of the best coaches in the world, what they do very well is they actually take a lot of pressure off players. So I think what he's actually trying to do here is just, obviously there's a lot of pressure on Percy because he is one of our bigger players and there's a lot of expectation on him. I think Hugo's almost just trying to take the limelight away from him and say that this is a team effort. This is not all about Percy, and we don't need Percy to to basically score the goals for us to do well, that he's just a piece of the puzzle. And I like what he's doing there. He's just taking the limelight a bit off Percy. I don't see any negatives in sort of what he's trying to say.
Yeah, the thing is that Percy is a star in Bafana Bafana. If you look at Williams is a star. If you look at Mkwena, is a star. The coach is wrong to say Percy Tau is not a star, because there's a difference between a star and a superstar. The thing is that
he said he's a star.
Yes, we said he's a good player, he's not a star.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I feel the coach is wrong by saying he's not. He's a key player, Bafana Bafana player, even though people were disappointed with his performance during the AFCON because he didn't perform the way we know him as a Bafana Bafana, as a Bafana Bafana player, as he has been with Al Ahly or Mamelodi Sundowns previously. I think it doesn't help, or it's unnecessary. I think he needs all the players to just fight for him in the 2 matches against Bafana Bafana and Zimbabwe and Nigeria. It's who does it help to say Percy Tau is not a star, he's a good player, but he's not a game changer? You need a game changer. What if Percy Tau is winning that Champions League? It's going to elevate him to a point where he can be a game changer for Bafana Bafana.
Yeah, but he's not speaking about futuristically. He's not looking ahead.
He says he's not a game changer.
He says right now he isn't.
But he has been, remember in Durban, in that FS World Cup qualifier, he scored the first goal. Without that goal, Bafana... So
you think Percy Tau decides games?
No. I'm not saying he's one of the stars of Bafana Bafana.
Because the coach says Percy is not the guy who's going to decide games.
You need him to be at his best for Bafana Bafana.
What I'm asking is, does Percy Tau decide games?
He has done before. He has, just like Mkwena, he has done before. He's a star. Just like Williams, he's a star. I'm just disagreeing with Mark Williams when you say Bafana Bafana doesn't have stars.
Mark Williams, hey, that's you.
I mean, sorry, Mark Haskins. For me, Williams is a Bafana Bafana star.
Yes,
he's a game changer. Mkwena is a Bafana Bafana star. He's a
Williams
game changer.
Is a game changer.
Even Percy Tau, he is there. He's a star. And actually, I can even go far as to say Williams is a superstar and Mkwena, but Percy Tau, he is a star.
So let me ask you this. When the opposition plan against Bafana Bafana, do you think at any point they make sure that there are 2 players assigned? Or does Percy Tau factor heavily?
Of course, he's the most high-profile Bafana Bafana player. He plays for the Egyptian Giants. He plays for the best team in Africa that wins the Champions League.
Sit there and plot and plan against Percy.
Exactly. That's why even during the AFCON he was struggling, because that's the player they all knew that this is the kind of a guy. He played for Brighton. He plays for Andile before. He is a high-profile player. To just say he's not a star, I disagree with that. I've seen even played against Man City. When it comes to Bafana Bafana players at the moment, is the most valuable player in the national team.
All right.
More valuable than Lyle Foster.
Where is he? You saw him in the national team.
Who's that?
Lyle Foster.
Yes.
During the AFCON.
Oh no, not during the AFCON, but right now he's part of the team.
We don't know if he's going to be mentally fit to be part of the squad. We don't know. Something might happen. Remember, the squad is yet to arrive, is yet to assemble. Before the coach coached him for the AFCON, then there were stories about him not being available. Now we don't know if he's going to be mentally fit to partake in those 2 matches.
It's 26 after the hour 6. Michael, welcome. It's Podcast Fridays. It goes a little something like that. Let's move on now. Michael, this is something you would have been a part of. Kaizer Chiefs for the first time. Finishing outside the top 10. It's not a conversation that you can't have. It is huge for South African football history that you have a Kaizer Chiefs not finish within the top 8. But also a Kaizer Chiefs that goes on to break a lot of negative records this season to everything and anything that they've done over the years. This is the stalwart cornerstone of South African football, is the mighty Amakosi. I sat down with Dr. Kumalo Hlompokekana as well as Coach Lulu to ask them about this. This was Monday, fresh off the weekend, when Michael Morton and his team had inflicted some pain to the Kaizer Chiefs faithfuls. Have a listen to what it is that they had to say.
There is no way you go face your opponents, they don't feel you. That's a loss on its own.
Yeah.
When the opponents look at the bench, they don't feel it. I'm not taking anything away from anybody that's there now. But Kaizer Chiefs is a team of personality. But now, the players that are there, it looks as if Sunday Kaizer Chiefs.
So who's got that personality? If somebody's listening now wants to know the kind of what is that personality? Where is that personality?
At this present moment, they don't have. Well, now they don't need a midfielder. They need a striker, somebody who scores goals. So at this moment, I don't think he will help it. They don't have a problem with playmakers. They can play whoever, but they need somebody who scores goals. They are desperate in that department.
We know Mkwanza's views, but Mkwanza, very quickly.
I think I don't really think Mteto as a Chiefs type of a player. He needs to stay at Stellenbosch. Simple as that.
Well, the crux of the conversation is Dr. Kumalo, as the rest of the guys, feel like to play for Chiefs, you need to be of a certain character, and when they look at the bench of Chiefs, only one player of the current crop deserves to be at Kaizer Chiefs, and they all agree that it's Mfundo Vilakazi. The rest might not have the character of Kaizer Chiefs. They then go on to say that a coach that coaches Kaizer Chiefs must have a certain arrogance about him. Timmy, they're giving us the wrong clip. Must have a certain arrogance about him and not just he calls him a twin saver coach, like soft coaches when you play. You can't be soft-spoken and soft. Do you have it now? Okay, because I want to give you the proper context here. Here it is.
A coach that comes, akufuneki coach a twin saver. Kaizer Chiefs has always maintained a coach and arrogance. That players need to understand that this is Kaizer Chiefs that has supporters that are used to a culture yama trophy.
So there you go. You've got it now. Yeah, that's the context of this conversation. Coaches, they've selected the wrong coaches, at least the last 4 coaches. These are twin saver coaches, meaning soft, like the tissue. They don't have the arrogance. He even says the arrogance. And then he says character of players. They then agree that Mfundo Vilakazi is the one, Nadim.
It means, Dr. Kumalo, I agree with everything he said, but I did say in the beginning of the season, most people thought like we are attacking the Kaizer Chiefs management when I said I feel that the Mtaung family, it's time they step back, because Kaizer Chiefs, when I grew up, Chiefs used to win a trophy every season. There was no time where there was a season where Chiefs didn't win a trophy. Up until, obviously, they started with Steve Kombella's era after Bexa left. Now, it's been almost 10 years. 10 years, full years now, without winning a trophy. So, Dr. Kumalo, you can blame the players and the coaches, but who appoint the coaches? Who signs the players? So it's very clear that, again, it goes down to the management, because they're the one who signed those players that Dr. Kumalo feels they don't have the character of Kaizer Chiefs. And the coach that he may be saying is a twin saver, it is not hard enough, is not strong enough to be coaching Kaizer Chiefs. He didn't appoint himself. So it goes down to management with Kaizer Chiefs. It's very simple. If they can just maybe... Like when they signed Ranga Chivairo, I mean, a guy that has played PSL one season in the PSL, he scored 10 goals for Marumo Gallants. He was good enough now to go to Kaizer Chiefs. That was just a mistake. You just knew that when he was saying it was an accident waiting to happen. He was never going to be a game changer for Kaizer Chiefs. Okay, sure, he scored 4 goals this season, but where Chiefs are out, I'm not surprised that actually, for me, they finished higher than I thought. I thought they were going to finish maybe number 12, 13. For them to finish 10, because they've been struggling all out from the first time when they started the season. Chiefs have not been convincing to the last match.
Yeah.
Mark?
It's always going to be a tough one when you're speaking about Kaizer Chiefs, but I don't necessarily agree with the statement that there isn't quality there.
Yeah.
I feel like at the club, when you again, Doc speaks about when you look at the players on the bench. I'll go back to one specific game that I actually covered. I think it was on radio. Was the Milford game. And the culture within the club is something that needs to be addressed, because how serious are they as a brand right now? I mean, it's like when you play for Kaizer Chiefs, you've arrived, just being there, you're happy to just be there. And that's not good enough. Getting to Kaizer Chiefs shouldn't be the destination. That should be the start of something. When you get there, you need to now, maintain a standard. But is there a standard that's set? And so when I did the Milford game, there were players that were on the field that got subbed off the field. And then on the bench, they were laughing and joking. And when you look at the circumstances... And
this was the lost game against the team in the lower divisions.
We're speaking about a team, yes, that you're struggling to beat, that's bottom of the NFD. They're not even like one of the challengers at NFD. Struggling to beat a team that's like bottom of NFD. And then you see players on the bench, like really chilled, laughing, making jokes. It's wrong. That in itself speaks to there's something wrong within the club. And
let me ask you about what Doctor said in that clip. Doctor says when other players, when they look at the bench of Kaizer Chiefs during a game, they don't look there and say, "Ish, that one mustn't come on." There's no fear when you play Kaizer Chiefs. Kind of like what teams that were regarded to be under Man United now, they don't fear going to Old Trafford anymore. He says it's the same thing at Kaizer Chiefs. Do you think anybody looks at the bench and says, "Chiwas, if that guy comes on, we're going to have a hard time"?
No, certainly not. But I don't think it's because of a lack of quality. I think it's personality and attitude, like Doc was also saying. When you look at the squad, and it doesn't start with one game. It's something that happens over time. So it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like today they were playing well, then overnight things just went haywire. It was a gradual thing, and it happened over time, where
gradual decay.
Just progressively, the it just got worse and worse and worse, and it's more within the squad. Like, you don't see anyone, like, when are they fighting?
So what's
for
the cause
badge?
of that?
Are they fighting? No, it's the culture within the club, and that's what they need to address. And where that starts, it always, when you say a fish rots from the head, so it has to start at the head and filter through the club. So how much does it mean to wear that Kaizer Chiefs badge? Do you see anyone going out on the field and putting their bodies on the line, like, where they'll give everything for the badge? Unfortunately, it doesn't come through. And that's why I say I don't think it's a lack of quality, because there's teams that have lesser quality that are doing better than Chiefs, but when those players get on the field, you can see what they're about, what they represent, and so that is so important. And unfortunately, Kaizer Chiefs have lost that a little bit.
Michael, we speak from a theoretical point of view, from an observation point of view, from an analytical point of view as well, as observers of the game and students of the game. But you were on the field with them. You were against them twice even, from a team point of view. What do you think of the season that Chiefs have had, and what do you think of the analysis from the great Dr. Kumar?
Yeah, look, I mean, I actually said this to the guys in the huddle on the field before the game. My exact words are pretty much, don't feel like there's been a better opportunity in my career to beat a Kaizer Chiefs team. And that's honestly how I felt, because, I mean, I've obviously over the last 10, 15 years faced some incredible Kaizer Chiefs teams where you literally go on the pitch and you're thinking, I hope we're going to get a draw here. I hope they're not going to embarrass us. I mean, you're walking onto a field with Kune and Shaba and Katsande, Parker, the names just roll off the tongue. It's incredible. And now when I looked at this team sheet, I thought, look, there's no reason. And we, the team that got relegated this season, one of the worst teams in the league, and you're looking at it thinking, look, we have a chance here against this Chiefs team, which I suppose says quite a lot about where they are as a club at the moment.
You've played at a big team. You've played at an Orlando Pirates and a Super Sport. I mean, some can regard those two as big teams. When they speak about character, to say, because Dr. Kumalo and Nhlompo once again say, they use Ox as an example. He was great at Stellenbosch. When he came to Kaizer Chiefs, they said, yes, he's a good player, but he doesn't have the character of a Kaizer Chiefs player. So they are good players, Mark, and the guys agreed on that. But are they Kaizer Chiefs players? Michael, do you believe that there are players that might be good but don't fit the character of a so-called big team?
Yeah, I think, we made the reference to United, and I think that's quite a good comparison, because I think United have struggled with that over the last couple of years as well. They're signing some very good potential players with the hope that they're growing to something special, but the clubs like United, like the big clubs like Kaizer Chiefs, they shouldn't be signing players that have potential to grow into great players. They should be signing great players. That was the pool that these great clubs had in the past. They were signing Bernard Parker from Europe. They were signing top players in South Africa, not players that had
Morgan Gold from SuperSport United.
Yeah, they were signing guys that were established professionals that were winning leagues, not necessarily guys who sort of had one good season and you hope that they're going to turn into a great player. Chiefs was the destination for all the great players in the country. And I think that now they're in a transitionary phase, the same way with United, where they don't have the pool Sundowns is grabbing all the hot talent in the country, and I think Chiefs are obviously struggling to keep up with that.
Mark, I showed them on the screen. I showed them every player at Kaizer Chiefs that signed this season. And I said, guys, doctor said no, not a single one. Then they looked at it again and they said, when you look at holistically, the arrogance of saying this is a Chiefs player, I am Chiefs, this is my badge. They said Mfundo Vilakazi embodies that more than everyone else.
I'm not sure. For me, when you look at the trouble and the challenges that Kaizer Chiefs face right now, I feel like when a player like Puso Ditejani, for me, is just the embodiment of how things are, need to be changed, and how there's a great need to address the situation in Kaizer Chiefs, because Puso was almost a prodigy. He's one of those. He showed great quality at a very young age. Why was Puso, if anyone deserved to play for Kaizer Chiefs, I think he's one. And he's now come into the league and shown his quality. Why wasn't he introduced at an earlier stage, or whatever the case may be? But there's something that's amiss at Kaizer Chiefs right now, and they need to do an audit within the house and really, try to see where they almost have to start from scratch. And I said it before that they are caught in between two worlds where they want to compete and they want to rebuild, and you can't be in between. You have to decide either you're going to compete, and then you're going to, when I say compete, you have to compete to the likes of Sundowns, where a player like Bradley Mojela shouldn't be saying I want to go to Sundowns only, and not be considering anyone else. And if you're going to rebuild, then start fresh, because they've got a great setup in the academy, some great players in the academy, but rebuilding is going to take time. So it's almost, you can't, they really in between two worlds, and that's what they need to define who they are as a club right now. They need to start from scratch, or they need to really go the other route and say, okay, we're going to back ourselves even financially, whatever the case may be, get the best coaches, get the best players, whatever the case may be, but don't be caught in between two worlds.
Nadeem, looking at this current crop of players, right? They're all contracted 2-3 years, some of them, etc., etc. You bring in a new coach, because that we know is happening for sure. You bring in 5-6 other players. Am I right in my analysis to say you are looking at least another 3-4, maybe even 5 years or more before Kaizer Chiefs is competitive?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to compete, but they do have solid players like Dihloko. I mean, solid defender from SuperSport United, and it started well at Kaizer Chiefs. Msimango was a good signing at TX Galaxy. You can see that, obvious now they just give him the captain role. I'm not sure if he's ready, but we know that he's a good player. They do need some seriously quality additions, but Mfundo of Lagas, I don't know what qualifies him for them to say he has not played so many games for Chiefs. He's just been promoted. I don't know, but some of the things you never know why people are pointing out a player that has not been playing and say is the one who showed the character. But the one that have been playing for me,
character could be
even
in one match.
Even Jabulo Ngobo, I mean, was the defender of the season when he was at Swallows. So some of the players are not that bad as they say. We can't blame the character that much. For me, the thing that they need, the most important position that in a team, in any sport, I've had most owners have been saying the same thing, even in basketball, is getting the right coach. Like Arsenal, they knew that they needed a Arteta.
So you think a good coach with this current crop of Kaizer Chiefs players can make a huge difference and have them being competitive?
Definitely.
To play a Stellenbosch, a Pirates,
this Kaizer Chiefs team can be in the top 4 with a proper coach.
Okay.
It's good enough to be in the top 4 of the league. It's good enough.
Michael, do you want to weigh in on that?
It's even better than the Stellenbosch team, this Kaizer Chiefs team.
This Kaizer Chiefs team with a good coach can compete with Stellenbosch.
Of course.
Michael?
Look at they took Stellenbosch's best player, Mteto. But when it goes to Chiefs, it looks like he's lost. It's easy to criticize him. But we know Ox, when he was a Stellenbosch, was that good. He was doing brilliant work.
He was in Bafana.
He was in Bafana squad. Suddenly, you can't say now he's a bad player because he's the Chiefs.
I want to hear from Michael. Michael, you heard that. This Kaizer Chiefs team, you change just the coach. You give him a good coach. Let's say a Pito Musimane goes there. All of a sudden, they top 4. They can even compete against Stellenbosch.
If you had to choose between Stellenbosch's front 3 and Chiefs' front 3, I don't think there's a single person that would say that they would take the Kaizer Chiefs front 3 over Stellenbosch's front 3. And then, there's a lot of Stellenbosch fullbacks as well. I think Stellenbosch's fullbacks are 2 of the best in the country as well. So it's very hard to say that Chiefs team is better individually than the Stellenbosch crop, to be honest. Right now, I look the team that Stellenbosch has put together. I think it's very hard to compare that to a team that should have finished second against a team that is sort of struggling outside the top 8. I think Stellenbosch's squad is one of the best in the league.
Well, I have to add that I think the problem with Kaizer Chiefs is literally the fact that the expectation. So any coach that comes in now, what's the expectation of the coach? Are you expecting this coach now to come in and compete with Sundowns? That's impossible. You can't expect that. So the expectation that's going to be put on whoever comes in has to be realistic.
And another thing with Mteto, Stellenbosch, Steve Barker, you take out Stellenbosch team, check out Steve Barker from that team. They are not we're not praising Reyners the way he was playing for SuperSport United. The guy who bring the best out of him was Steve Barker. So you take out the Steve Barker from that team. I don't think we'll say Stellenbosch have the best players than Kaizer Chiefs. We'll praise them the way we were praising. Even Mteto was performing so well because he was properly coached by Steve Barker at Stellenbosch. At Kaizer Chiefs, he's really struggling, but it's not like he's a bad player. So that's why
the problem is coaching.
I feel this team, Kaizer Chiefs team, is good enough to be in the top 4 with a proper coach.
1842. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, UEFA Champions League final as well as the Nedbank Cup final. What do the guys think? Michael Morton is our special guest.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
Kaizer Chiefs finishing 10th. Have a listen to a snippet of what Dr. Kumalo had to say.
A coach that counts. Akufuneki coach twin saver. Kaizer Chiefs has always maintained a coaching arrogance. That players need to understand that this is Kaizer Chiefs that has supporters that are used to a culture Yamatrof. A player can play well at Stelis, but that doesn't mean he can play well at Chiefs.
I think you and I both know what he meant. When it was said by Hlompho Kekana, he was attacked.
Now they don't need a midfielder. They need a striker, somebody who will score goals.
We know Mkwanza's views, but Mkwanza, very quickly.
I don't really think Mteto is a Chiefs type of a player. He needs to stay at Stellenbosch. Simple as that.
Who deserves to be at Kaizer Chiefs? I can tell you now that they all agreed on one name and one name only. Mfundo Vilakazi, the only player that they could have kept in that team to build on.
6 to 7 p.m.
18:44, about to go 45. Let's go straight into the weekend. And to do that, we start with Opta Jabu. He's all the way in Cape Town. They could be standing next to each other and not know it with Michael Morton. Linda Lomoya joins us. Follow them on social media. It's at Opta Jabu as well as Latuma Analytics. I can tell you, after every show we've got, coaches and teams are calling. They're wanting their number. Guys, it's not free, this thing. These guys work very, very, very hard to compile these things. So, Fagemalu Zobona, very popular nowadays. Lindelo.
Andile, good evening.
Hey, you're very popular these days, man, eh?
Thank you, Andile. Thanks to your publicity as well, hey?
No, listen, it's the work you deserve. It's the amazing work that you guys do. Let's go straight into it. UEFA Champions League final. It's a big one. It's Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. What do you make of that one?
It's a big one, Andile. It is, in fact, the 15th meeting between the two sides. And, of course, because they're from different countries, all of them have come in the Champions League. Of the previous 14, Dortmund have only won 3 of those. Madrid have won 6, that's twice as much, and the other 5 have ended in draws.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought that I would have thought it was like a daylight between the two. I don't think it is with that stat there. But also, 0 is something that Madrid have going for them. What is that 0?
So they haven't lost a game at all this season, Andile, in the Champions League, of course. And should therefore defeat this weekend, they would have gone unbeaten across a season in the Champions League for the first time ever in their illustrious history.
That's an amazing stat. Let's see if they're able to keep it up. Stay on the line because we're going to speak about Nedbank Cup in a bit. But firstly, let me hear the guys' views on the Champions League. Michael, I'm going to start with you. A big match in the Champions League this weekend.
Yeah, massive, man. Looking forward to it. Obviously, I've been writing of Dortmund since the quarterfinals. But sure, they just keep on defying the odds. They're dangerous on the counter, very, very compact, and I love the way that they break with speed and very, very exciting. So I think it could be almost the worst possible enemy for Madrid, just with the way that they play. They might let Madrid dominate the ball and hurt them on the counter. It's going to be an exciting one to watch.
So who are you backing then?
It's hard to always bet against. It's hard to bet against Madrid, to be honest. I think just the name alone and just the momentum that they have going. But in a final, anything can happen. So yeah, it's Madrid for me. But Dortmund can win this thing.
Mark?
I think it's exciting. Definitely going to be an interesting encounter. I love Dortmund. I've always been a Dortmund fan, purely because of what they do and how they go about their business, developing young players, and they basically develop for the rest of the world. But Madrid, this is a powerhouse Madrid team, and it's going to be very difficult to stop them. So it's either going to be a blowout for Madrid or there's going to be a surprise. But I'll always back the underdog. So I'm going to go for a Dortmund win. That's just my heart speaking and not my head.
It's your heart speaking. Okay, that's an interesting hat, but yeah, you can't. The last time Madrid lost in a final, Champions League final, was 1982 against Liverpool. So they've won their last 8 finals. They are that strong. I mean, if you look how they take out Man City. Most people favor them to go all the way. I think they will beat the Dortmund 3-0. If you look how Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, they are just that strong. And the good thing about them is that their number 1 goalkeeper, trusted goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, is fully fit for this game. Since he came back in the last 4 matches, he has not conceded even a single goal. So I think they are just too strong for Dortmund. It's a final. It's there, but I don't think it's a one-sided final.
All right, so who are you backing? Madrid, you said 3-0.
Madrid, yeah.
Let's move on to our local shows here. SABC Sports is going to be showing you this game. It's going to be live at 3 o'clock with the build-up starting at 2 o'clock. Join myself and some of our analysts in studio for this on SABC 1, SABC Plus, as well as SABC Sport. We bring you the big one. Mark, I'm going to go to you with this one. But firstly, let's go to Linda Lomoya. Up to Jabu with the stats. This is the 8th meeting, I believe, in this cup.
Yes, in the FA Cup, that's Bob Save, ABSA and Nedbank Cups combined in the PSL era, is the 8th time that Sundowns and Orlando Pirates are meeting.
And how's it fared in the 8?
Very close. Pirates have 3 wins, Sundowns have 2 wins, and then the other 2 draws were actually in 1 tie, so the 1998 edition needed a replay, so they have 2 draws from that, and Sundowns won the shootout in the replay.
But also, it's pitting the best in South Africa against each other, 1 and 2.
Always the big question, is it the best teams in the country playing in the final? It's the first time in PSL history, Andile, that the teams that finished first and second in the league also meet in the FA Cup final. Bob Save, ABSA and Nedbank Cup.
It's not the first time, though, that they meet in a final.
No, it's the 6th time they meet in a final. Again, very close. Sundowns have won 3 of those, 1990, 98 and 2007. Pirates have won 2 of the finals in 92 and 2023 MTN8, of course. And all this is from the NSL era going forward. So it's 1985 going up front.
Opta, we really appreciate you. Please, shout out all your stuff.
Thank you, Andile. I'm Opta Jabu, Ladum Analytics on all social media platforms. And tomorrow at Mbombela Stadium as well to watch the grand final. We
appreciate you. They do good work there. Mark, it's a big one, this.
Yeah,
it's 1 and 2. It's the 2 best. It's the 2 best coaches.
I learned something new today because I heard of the saying there you can call it the FA Cup.
Yes,
I assume it's Football Association Cup, right?
Yeah.
So okay, it's obviously just the Nedbank Cup version of it, but I think it's going to be very interesting. I did say this, that I think Sundowns' loss last week is actually their gain, and it is Pirates' loss, because if Sundowns got that invincibility tag, I think they would have come into this game on a cloud, and that would have given Pirates the edge. And I feel like that loss last week is almost a blessing in disguise for Sundowns, because it's going to add more value to what they need to do to kind of salvage, because that dampened the celebrations. You can look at it any way you want. They wanted that tag, and unfortunately they didn't get it. So I do believe that loss last week will actually count in Sundowns' favor, and that will give them the edge, I believe, tomorrow.
Nadim?
Yeah, it's a very tough match to predict, because these are the 2 teams that played to a goalless draw in the MTN. Only penalties separated them. But you'll feel like Pirates have a slight edge over Sundowns, simply because if you look at Sundowns, how they played so many games, look at the last 2 matches against TS Galaxy and Cape Town City, you just feel like they're not themselves, man. How they lost against Cape Town City and how they celebrated that goal against TS Galaxy. This Sundowns team have played so many games. I think fatigue might take its toll, but Pirates, they've won the last 3 finals that they played. It counts for something. Most of the players in this kind of Sundowns teams have not been part of the Rulane is yet to win a local cup final. If he wins it, obviously it's going to be good for him. He's going to get a double locally and a treble because of the AFL. But I just feel like Pirates have a slightly edge over Sundowns.
Didn't he win the MTN?
Yeah, but he was with Mangoba.
Oh, okay. So you mean as remember, as himself?
Yeah, I remember last
without having a co-coach.
He was taken out by Stellenbosch.
No, I hear what you mean.
Yeah, so
Michael Morton, who's our guest today, I'll tell you a little bit about what he's up to at the moment and the amazing podcast that he's been able to put together. A little bit of wit, a little bit of stats, and a lot of history in that podcast there. Michael, what do you make of the final?
Yeah, I think Pirates have got a bit of momentum going into this one. Obviously, Sundowns have stuttered a bit at the end here. They haven't been their fluent selves in the last 5-6 games, and Pirates have obviously, they've got a bit of momentum, finished strong in the season. So I think it's very interesting. I think it could go either way.
That's it. Come on, Michael, you got to give me more than that.
Yeah, well,
Mike, you're not sitting on the fence on this one, but
you know what I mean.
No. No, once and always.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the views of the guys here. We've got voice notes that we're going to be playing. But Mike, I know time does run off when we start doing the voice notes. You've got a podcast that you've got going on. What's it called?
Mike Morton Talks Football.
Mike Morton Talks Football. And you've got an interesting guest coming up. I think it comes out this evening, yeah?
Yeah, so the interview I did with Dean Furman came out at 5 this afternoon, so you can catch it on YouTube. It was a great interview to catch up with the old teammates and obviously ex-Bafana Bafana captain, so that was a great way to get the podcast started.
Mike Morton Talks Football. First guest on YouTube on his podcast is Dean Furman. I'm assuming it would have been online, yeah, because he's in the UK still?
Yeah, he's back in the UK. He's actually just got a new job working with the Players Union in the UK. Still sort of playing semi-professional football, but sort of phasing his way out of the game now and going into the more administrative side of the game.
Well, I can't wait for it. I'll be definitely tuning in this evening to Mike Morton Talks Football.
Drop us a voice note on 060 552 7303.
Waking up, I'm too turned up.
Andile, good evening, my brother. The game tomorrow between Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, I think Orlando Pirates are going to win that one. You know, Sundowns Stars are tired. They're experienced and tired, that according to me. And we have witnessed even the way they finished the league. While Orlando Pirates have stars in Mofokeng, Mabasa, plenty of stars there. And they can beat Mamelodi Sundowns very easily tomorrow. It's Moses Mokwena, Hamukwakwahila. Thank you.
I think on this situation, even Dr. Kumalo to say the player are not good enough. I think even the management, since they started to lose step by a long time ago, I think they need to check themselves. Even the management is not doing well. So Dr. Kumalo must not blame only the player. Thank you, Ma'a.
Hola, Ma'a. Tomorrow, Orlando Pirates, we're going to lift the trophy. I think Orlando Pirates is going to beat Mamelodi Sundowns by 2-1. And Real Madrid,
so 3 goals.
They will beat Borussia Dortmund by 3-0. Keep it boy,
what's the ball? Let's take the calls. Bonkosi is out in Dobsonville, wants to speak about Nedbank Cup. Bongi.
Hey, ma,
no, mkamane boy.
Sometimes you win. I just hope the referees they can do the right thing, because whenever Pirates play against Sundowns, they always play a physical game. So I just wish the referees can do the right job.
And Pirates always get a red card, right?
No, the problem is that if it's like that, remember when Sundowns were playing in their last game in the league, when Makaula elbow.
No, I said they always get a red card.
No, I would want to like many toilet, but I just want to be fair. If Sundowns is fair, I can't argue on the left, but it must be a fair game.
Bonkosi, I'm hoping so too. I'm pretty sure it will be. Let's go to Peter. Peter's out in Brits. Wants to speak about the Nedbank Cup final as well. Peter.
Andile, how are you?
No, always good, man. Go for it.
What I want to see tomorrow is that the match officials must be mentally ready, you know.
Hey, man.
Because always when Orlando Pirates play Sundowns, we see a beautiful game.
It's my favorite fixture in the DSTV Premiership.
Yes. That's why always when they play this team, we can see goals. Even if there was no goals, but we see a beautiful game. That's why now it attracts a lot of people, a lot of fans in such a way that even the Davies, someone used to tell me that the Davies is not even more exciting than Pirates and Sundowns, because you see beautiful games. There can be goals, there can not be no goals, but until going to this one, I want to tell some people that Pirates, they've got an edge. But the only thing that the problem that I have is Orlando Pirates coach, when it comes to such decisions, that's where he made mistakes. But the first 11, I'm definitely sure he'll be right. But you can't talk about Rulani. It's always, in his first 11, it's always good for my side.
Peter, I appreciate it. Last one. I gotta go. Tertius is the last one. Naked is here looking like a 90s music video. Tertius.
Yes.
Talk to me. You got 30 seconds.
I'm joining you guys. So I want to tell about the Nedbank Cup final. I know Jose Rivera is going to take it. He never lost the final. So Rolanda hasn't proven himself in that case, so I know Pirates taking this one.
Oh no, I'm not sure what happened there. Can you still hear, Tertius? Is it just me?
I can hear you.
There you are. Yeah. Very quickly, wrap it up.
Yeah, I was saying Jose Riviero has never lost the final. He's taking this one. Rolanda hasn't proven himself in that sense. So Buccaneers winning this one. By the way, I'm a coach.
Oh, there you go. A Chiefs fan backing Orlando Pirates. Michael, we appreciate you coming on. We hope it's not the last time.
No, thank you so much for having me, guys. Anytime.
Oh, by the way, Mike, what's happening next season? Are you staying at Cape Town Spurs?
We're
still too early?
We're still making decisions. Still some big decisions to be made. We'll know in the next couple of weeks what we're going to do.
Well, once you've made that decision, please come on and let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Michael Morton, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. The first and only current player in the DSTV Premiership to come on Podcast Friday. We appreciate it. Maybe next week we'll have Tomo Homokwen.
Superstar.
Superstar. Thank you so much, guys. Got to get out of here. Catch Mark on the SABC over the weekend. Which game are you doing? Are you doing the final? We're in the final, and like I said, one of the best analysts on TV. He's going to be with me tomorrow as we do the final.
Not the best.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best because I rate Lulu as well. I rate a couple of guys, but Mark is up there.